Fayetteville Economic Redevelopment Agency will now come to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I've spoken to our secretary today, and he's confirmed that this meeting has been advertised according to law. So can I have a roll call, please?
Sure. Mr. Diadio?
Here.
Mr. Newton?
Here.
Mr. Travisano?
Here.
Mr. Palando?
Here.
Mr. Gabelli? Mr. Dolina?
Here.
Ms. Fisher?
Here.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Here.
Councilman Lembo?
Here.
First order of business, 5A, authorization for payment of bills 9 and L, that's A through K. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes.
Mr. Gabelli? No. Mr. Dolina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Next order of business, 5B, authorization for payment of bills NL related non-escrow to be paid when funds are available, and that's L through P. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palando?
Yes.
Mr. Dolina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Next order of business, 5C, authorization for payment of bills to be paid from escrow accounts to be paid not only if escrow funds are available, and that's Q through AA. Can I have a motion, please?
Make a motion, we approve on roll call vote.
Second motion.
Roll call.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Travisano.
Mr. Palando?
Yes.
Mr. Dolina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Okay, pending matters, 6A, Waterfront Redevelopment. Okay.
Yes, Commissioners, the subcommittee had met with North American Properties to review the plans that were in progress at our office after the last meeting. The plans were not finalized in any way for presentation, but they gave us an idea of what their plans are that are shown in the YouTube and in the press release that has gone out. We saw drafts of that, which looked pretty good. We had some discussions with them with regard to other concerns. The one nice thing during that meeting, it was clear that they were going to take advantage of the waterfront, because the previous plans didn't take advantage of the waterfront as much as they should have. But they have a special focus on the waterfront, and I think everybody at that subcommittee meeting felt comfortable that they were moving in the right direction. We're waiting now to go through and receive further plans. I think that we'll probably go through and get something after the holidays that we'll have to go through and review, and then I think they're going to start going through the approval process. From the standpoint of the cleanup is still under Prudential. They are still managing the cleanup. That work is going on. I know that they were going through and getting quotes for some of the finish-up work that they had to do on Parcel A, and they were also going through and getting additional PDM materials approved to go through and come to the site and tested and the like. So that's what's happening with regard to that.
Nothing to add.
Any comments or questions from the commissioners? Next item, B, COA.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll give a brief update, then I have more to discuss about the next steps in executive session. I appeared in court along with the Township Attorney and Special Counsel this week. The Kaplan attorneys and the Affordable Housing attorneys and NL attorneys were also in court. After about 2.5 hours, the judge declined to accept the borough's arguments that we need more time, and entered an order that the properties that were listed as suitable for affordable housing, that those ordinances be adopted. He gave us about 7 to 10 days to work with Ms. McKenzie to make sure the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and then the judge ordered that the balance of the ordinances, the fee ordinances, the plan, and some other ordinances be adopted by the council by the 22nd, and if not, by the 23rd, he will enter an order ordering that they're adopted. So some of it was taken out of the council's hand, and the other was left in the council's hand until after your January 22nd meeting. And I'll talk more about the next steps in closed session.
Anything else?
As far as the fees go, did the judge give an amount on the fees, or was that proposed?
It's on Friday, there will be there's a motion for fees, but that's on Friday. So, and he didn't tip his hand as to which way he was gonna go.
Did the borough, just for this argument, I mean, did the borough countersue for fees as well, or no?
No, the reason for the award of fees, if they're awarded, would be because the judge perceived the borough to be intransigent and disobeying his orders. So there's not the same thing for the other side.
Any questions? Next item is Hercules.
I'm going to do more of a detailed presentation at the January meeting. Just wanted to get you this report. It's a draft report for your review. There might be a little bit of tweaking before that meeting, but turn to page 8 and I'll give you a quick overview so that when you read it, you understand basically what it says. The yellow portion of the property is the first section, and that section will go through and permit warehouse use, okay, that will have to go through and only exit onto Cheesequake Road, not be able to go up onto Minnesink. And that is being limited to about 1.2 million square feet, so they can't go through and have a super large amount of truck traffic coming out until they ultimately build the Washington Road bypass, which is the extension of Hartle Drive. That's the green road that you see going through the purple area. Okay, so the way that this has been handled, and there was a lot of going back and forth with Hercules, they're concerned because of the fact that it's going to take them some time to get the road approved to cross the railroad and to go through the wetlands, because there's a section of wetlands that's going to require a big permit, and that's going to take them some time. So we didn't want to go through and allow them to have any more warehouses in section 3, the purple section, okay? But we have this proposed that if they come in with a manufacturing use, if they came in with some type of an athletic facility, there's a lot of indoor soccer complexes and indoor recreational facilities, they could build it, and then we can still have access to Cheesequake and Minnesink for that use. But from the standpoint, if they want to build more warehouses in the purple zone, they can't until they extend it to Hartle Drive. And that's strictly for traffic control so that we don't overload the Cheesequake Road area, and we don't have trucks trying to sneak their way up the Washington Road. The next section, well, there's a section in there, the green section, is going to basically be an extension of Bailey Park. That's where the current swimming facilities are that Hercules had. We don't know what we would go through and do with those, whether they stay, whether they get filled, but that would be an extension of the park if we want it to be, okay? The blue section, the dark blue section, is their existing plant site, and the light blue section is planned to be power-related functions. Power plant, if we can go through and get another power plant on the site, it would go in that back area, and/or private educational facilities. We know that there's another school that is looking to go through and locate in the borough, and that would be permitted along with the other uses that are outlined there. We tried to keep it open so that we can get as many different uses as we possibly can. So when you see that, that's what the story is. The red road that you see coming through, my guess is you may not ultimately see that completely built because of the fact that that goes through their current plant site. And I think it's very expensive to go through and extend unless they have the right uses in the blue area. So the red road may wind up being, you know, a one feed road. It might not be a looped road, okay, until ultimately the whole project is done, and depending upon what Hercules does with their current operation. If it turns out that other uses, because we're not sure about the power plant uses, we want to go through and make them available because they're great ratables for the borough, okay? But there's issues with regard to the power facilities. The high tension lines that run through the area do not have all the capacity that they need to go through and add additional power plants. And it will cost millions of dollars to go through and upgrade them, and that would go through and shoot down the feasibility of building another power plant on the site. So the target of this was to try and encourage as much power plant related use as we can. If not power plant, solar farms. There's a landfill, that little, the light blue area in the middle of the dark blue area, okay, is a landfill. So more than likely that'll be covered with solar panels at some point in time. But as you read through it, that was the general thought. I'll give you more of a detailed presentation, okay, at the next meeting. And if you have anybody has any questions, give me a yell.
Okay, the green section, is that gonna be the borough's property, or?
It would become the borough's property.
And the red road, does that go out to Florida Power and Light?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. That's why I say it could be an extension of that road, or it could ultimately be a loop-through portion. The Hercules wanted to go through and have that in their own decision-making, and the way we have it worded here is it's going to really depend upon what's developed, but it has to be done based upon a decision that is made by Hercules and SERA, okay? Not just Hercules. So the truth of the matter is the development is going to dictate that. What kind of uses do we come in? The easy one for them is warehouses, because there's a big demand for warehouses right now, okay? But we also didn't want to cover the whole site with warehouses if we only had a road that went out to Cheesequake. So that's why we tied it in with the loop road going to Hartle. That's all I'm going to talk about today, unless you had more questions.
I got another question.
Okay.
Is there gonna be any stacking of trailers?
Is there going to be any stacking?
Trailers, they stack them up, right?
There's
Like
nothing.
across from
Containers.
Dave's office, like the place across from Dave's office that stored them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old bridge.
There is nothing in this ordinance that permits that.
Okay, the only reason I ask is because you don't get no tax dollars for that at all. So it's like-
Absolutely.
Actually, it doesn't sound like any of these structures that are going to be built have a lot of tax dollars.
The warehouses will.
I thought warehouses didn't have many tax dollars.
No, they do, especially if it's under a pilot.
Under a pilot, that's the only way to do it. Actually, I was gonna bring that up for the power plant too. Like, there's no money in that for the borough unless there's a pilot.
Unless there's a pilot.
Okay, and they're willing to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. The key question, though,
Part of the agreement.
is can you go through and make a power plant financially feasible on the site? And that has a lot to do with gas prices, it has a lot to do with the energy prices,
Yeah.
and with what improvements they have to make to the grid.
Even a school, Dave, unless it's a for-profit school,
Mhm.
there's no tax revenue in that
The-
either. I
the-
think that's something we need to consider.
Yeah, there is no tax credit, credits with regard to that. I mean, there's a possibility that you can negotiate some type of payment in lieu of, but the scenario with that during the discussions with them, that was an issue that came up because the people who own the school on Cheesequake wanted to go through and expand. And it does provide a beneficially inherent use to the borough, because it's nice to be able to take care of the people of special needs.
Is it,
So-
and you had mentioned.
But it's not gonna be a major rate.
And I'm assuming that in your statements before that you said there was a school that was interested in that piece.
Not necessarily that school, but the people who built that
Who
school.
built that school?
Are talking about extending that type of a
Okay.
service. Okay? And that's why we have it listed as a permitted use.
In
Yeah, didn't they
section
say at one time that the traffic would go out to Journey Mill Road?
when you first came in here?
Yeah, that's horrible.
That's
Part
what
of it.
we are recommending.
Right, right.
It's just that it's going to take them time to do that. Okay, that's why we're not, they want to put warehouses in the purple zone.
Right.
Okay, and we have said, we don't think you can put warehouses in the purple zone till you go through and build the road through. And in fairness to them, the road is an expensive one, and it's gonna take some time to get the approvals. They've asked for a RAB bond to be utilized for that, okay? And the wording in here, you'll see wording in there that they want to go through and use a RAB bond to pay for that, unless they can get grants or other things. We don't have a problem with that, because the RAB bond is paid for basically by the users of the site. So from the standpoint, if that facilitates the development, and we can go through and get higher end ratables on this site, that's good, but we didn't want to go through and just automatically permit warehouses in the purple zone because of the impact structure.
How big is that yellow zone, Dave?
From the standpoint of acreage, I'm not positive of the acreage, but if just looking at it, I think that it's got to be probably about 80 acres.
I guess 1 million too. I mean, isn't Sunshine Biscuits 1 million?
It's around 1 million.
So you're talking about a huge.
No, you're
warehouse.
talking 3 different ones.
Oh, 3 different warehouses on this yellow spot? 1 million two total? So that's
1,200,000 total.
400,000.
There would be 2 smaller ones and then 1 bigger one. And if you notice, Minnesink Avenue has to be realigned, okay, so that we don't have that sharp bend
Right.
coming on, and it will come to a T intersection, because the intent is to go through and have, once the Green Road is extended, you want that to be your main drag. You want that to be the Washington Road bypass. So that it would have to be something that's done in the first phase to prepare that infrastructure.
And that's part of the master plan, that road.
And that's part of the master
Right.
plan road, that's correct. But take a read through it. I'm sure you're gonna have questions. I wanted to give you this quick overview. We didn't want to go through and ask for any action until you had time to thoroughly digest it.
I'll wait till next time to ask all the questions.
Hey, it's up to you,
No,
Don.
no, that's
And
fine,
if you
that's
wanna
fine.
save time, you can even call me. I'll answer in the office, so that our meeting will be shorter next time.
Let me just ask you this, being that that road involves wetlands, what are the odds that it'll ever be built?
The odds are not bad. There's a lot of wetlands that we have to deal with on the other, on
Yeah, Main Street bypass.
from the standpoint of the Main Street bypass, but also at the Point or Riverton.
Right.
I have to get used to the new name. Okay, but we have to deal with a lot there, and we have to get permits for them. And we
But
were.
it is doable even though it's wetlands.
It's doable, plus this is a much smaller area of wetlands that we have to go through. So it's doable, expensive, time-consuming. It's gonna take probably about 2 to 3 years to get those approvals. So I could see the developer going through and moving ahead on the yellow zone, trying to get that built out. And if he can't go through and get that approval right away, we still wanted to give him the option of having other uses there that would generate revenue.
Right, right. Good.
So that's the overview on that. And as I said, I'll answer more questions for you at the next meeting.
Okay, anyone else? All right, PRC River Road.
I'll give a little update now as to what the discussion was in court, and then I'll discuss more in executive session. In court, I made the argument to help the town get an extension that we couldn't decide and conclude our negotiations with PRC until we knew what the appropriate numbers were for the town's co-obligations. And I told the judge that the dilemma that we face as a party in the lawsuit is if we don't need any COA units on the property, then the redevelopment agency is gonna get more money. But if we need a lot of COA units on the property, we're gonna get less money, potentially nothing. And that we needed the borough to have the additional time to work out those numbers so that we, as a property owner that's part of the litigation, would be able to figure out what we could realize on the property and what we needed to build there. And the special master and the judge said, we understand, but you can continue to work on that later. I'm gonna order the ordinances adopted. I have a bit of good news if I get on another pending item, Chairman. This afternoon, I received a notice from the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, Federal Court of Appeals, one level below the Supreme Court. We won again the Indian Harbor case, which is the pollution liability case against NL. And the 9-judge panel said that NL's arguments were without merit. It was a very short decision. It was about a page and a half. So that case is over, done. You shouldn't see, this will be the last month you'll see any bills
Yeah.
on Indian Harbor.
Okay,
I
well,
hope.
very low. See who you talk to and everything.
Okay. Resolution providing for holding a private executive meeting pertaining to litigation, personnel, contract negotiations, and property acquisition and sale. Can I have a motion to go into closed session?
Make a motion, we go into close.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay.
We're good?
Yep.
Okay. All right, next order of business is 9 resolutions. A resolution authorizing SERA professionals to research the Crossman mining pit as a potential area to be designated as an area for a need of redevelopment.
And a set fee.
Chairman, I have a resolution prepared to that effect with a cost not to exceed $14,000.
I make a motion, we approve the resolution.
Second?
Dave wouldn't go for 100.
Any questions or discussion?
All right, we have a motion and a
I
second.
made
You have
it
that?
in a
Yes.
second.
Nicole, you have that?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
Yes.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilperson Lembo?
Yes.
Okay. Now, B, form of resolution governing body certification of the annual audit.
Chairman, this is the standard resolution prepared by the agency's auditor accepting the audit, and with that, we also have the standard certification for the commissioners to sign, saying that they familiarized yourselves with the audit and you've reviewed the comments.
Okay. You want to pass that around, we'll sign this.
The one we gotta sign. Joe Ambrose's gotta sign that one. That one.
So there would be, need to have a motion of the governing body approving the resolution, approving the audit.
I make a motion, we approve the audit on roll call vote.
Second motion?
Roll call, please.
Mr. Diadio?
Yes.
Mr. Newton?
Yes.
Mr. Travisano?
Yes.
Mr. Palanda?
Yes.
Mr. Delina?
Yes.
Ms. Fisher?
Yes.
Councilman Kilpatrick?
Yes.
Councilman Lembo?
Yes.
Any comments from the commissioners?
Barbara.
Ms. Fisher, that, in regards to that email you sent after the last meeting, I went through the bylaws, I don't see anything saying that the mayor can't be on SERA. You want to tell us what you were referring to?
I don't have a copy of it with me, but I'll highlight this section.
You saw it in our bylaws,
Yep,
that the mayor cannot be on SERA.
yep.
That's true.
Chairman,
It's not-
I
it's
think
not in our
it's-
bylaws.
the statute calls for it to be 2 council members.
Yeah, 2 council members, yeah,
Right.
that was not included.
But that's done by the state
That's by
legislature.
state, that's a statute.
A state statute, not
Yeah.
a SERA
And
bylaw.
it doesn't, I don't think it says the mayor.
Right.
As long as there was 2 council members, if I
No,
remember.
that's when it
Well-
was changed.
Yeah.
Right, and I only sent an email to 2 commissioners, to you 2. I didn't send it out, it wasn't like a general email.
Yeah, there was some history there 10, 11 years ago,
Yeah,
and the
Yeah.
statute was changed.
It was changed from 7 members to 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
By the state legislature, not by our bylaws. It wasn't done by SERA commissioners.
It was John.
Yeah, I know.
It has to be done by Assemblyman Wisniewski.
Yes, Ms. Wood.
I read your emails, don't worry.
Any other comments by the commissioners?
Happy holidays to everyone.
Now can I have a motion to open the public portion?
I make a motion, we open the public portion.
Do a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
I know.
And a motion to close the public portion?
I make a motion, we close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Happy
Happy
holidays.
holidays, everybody.
One and a dog.